The truth occurs. The truth occurs.
Hi everyone. On the 8th of January, some crazy guy called Jare Loughner went to a Safeway and shot the Democratic Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, her Director of Community Outreach, Gabe Zimmerman, an old lady called Mrs. Schenk, and a federal judge called John Roll, and also two of Gifford's security people, and a 9-year-old girl who happened to be born on September 11th. Now, I started looking into this, and what I found strange was the incredible amount of parallels between this story and the one of John Patrick Bedell, the Pentagon shooter. Okay, obviously they were both mentally very unstable. They had a history of mental illness and hospitalizations. People who knew them were concerned, thought they were dangerous. In both cases, they said that they had changed in the last little while, and they were worried that they were, going to go off the deep end. Also, the media reactions were very similar. The media tried to portray both as conspiracy theorists and try to say this had something to do with why they went crazy and shot all those people. They also tried to make it look like it had something to do with anti-government extremism and implied that they were linked to some kind of extremist groups. This is from Deadline Live. DHS links Jare Loughner to American Renaissance. American Renaissance page, they deny this, say he never attended any of their events and had never been on their list. They had no idea what the DHS was talking about, and this was totally crazy. Here's the strangest thing I found about Jare Loughner and John Patrick Bedell, is that they had something very weird in common. They both had ideas about replacing the currency system. A lot of people have ideas about that, but usually their ideas involve replacing it with gold or something. But John Patrick Bedell had ideas of replacing currency with an idea-based currency system, and Jare Loughner had a concept of how to replace currency with words. I think that's a really big coincidence. Well, here's Jare Loughner's YouTube site, Class It Up 10. There's some strange things about this site. Well, as you notice, there's no place for channel comments. It doesn't show who he's subscribed to or who has subscribed to him. On his videos, the comments are also disabled. Also strange was that in the information box about him, he puts his whole real name, which most people don't do. I know the guy was crazy, but I think it's possible that somebody made this as a fake YouTube site. Videos were very strange. I'll be honest with you, it looks to me like they were created by somebody to make it look like they were made by a crazy person. I've actually known people who had mental illness, and although their logic is very skewed, but there usually is some kind of logic. But what he came up with, just like a bunch of absolute gibberish nonsense. He actually mentioned mind control in his videos. Grammar as mind control. Although his own grammar wasn't all that good. I find it strange. Also, his taste in music was very bad. You'd think that somebody who was a pot smoker would have better taste in music. But back to his motives. If he was so concerned about currency, why didn't he go after somebody who was involved in the financial system? Because Giffords and Roll, their main area of involvement had to do with border security, so I don't know why he would target those people. He also had a beef with the educational system and his school, so why did this not manifest as a school shooting? He also uses some strange language. He talks about distributing currency lethally. That if you're not distributing currency lethally, whatever that means, that you're distributing it non-lethally. Lethal, non-lethal, those are words that would sound like they came from the Department of Defense. I mean, not to sound totally paranoid here, but you hear of like non-lethal weapons. I mean, what's the connection? I know he was crazy, but like I say, even crazy people follow some kind of logic. More about mind control. He says government officials and the people, nearly all the people who don't know this accurate information of new currency aren't aware of mind control and brainwashing methods. Again, the currency thing and mentioning mind control. And then he also says later that he's asleep, and it was made out in the media that he was talking about lucid dreaming and stuff like that. But I find it weird that he's actually mentioning mind control and being asleep. Could he be a sleeper? A Manchurian Candidate. I know you probably think, Sonia, what is it with you? Every time there's one of these incidents, you always say that it's, a Manchurian Candidate, a sleeper. But the thing is that these sleeper agents are really not that rare. There was a case of Matthew Pope, a guy who survived being stuffed into the van, tortured, and then they tried to, implant him with post-hypnotic suggestions. But he was able to override this, and he later reported on it. There was at the Allen Memorial Hospital here in Montreal where the CIA did mind control experiments. CIA does mind control, but this is not just say it's the CIA doing all of this. I mean, this goes way back. This is the website of Russ Dizdar, Shatter the Darkness, and here's the book he wrote, The Black Awakening, Rise of the Satanic Super Soldiers. Now, Russ has been studying this for decades, and he's met hundreds of people who've been victims of this kind of mind control. And what happens is they're tortured, and then, in the weakened state, post-hypnotic suggestions can be implanted. And through this, their personality starts to split up. So they have their main personality, and then they have sub-personalities, which carry out different functions. And often enough, the subpersonalities can even speak languages that the surface personality doesn't know, or they have knowledge that the surface personality doesn't have. They're used in satanic covens for rituals, and they're used to, carry out acts like this. They have to be triggered, and the trigger can be an object or it could be a word, as in when you find the gun in your pocket, then you're going to carry out certain steps, or a certain word will set you off, and things like that. Now, every time an incident like this happens, whether it's John Bedell or it's Jare Loughner or whoever, it's always used to push a political agenda such as gun control or tightening the internet or clamping down on different groups or whatever. And that's the kind of thing that, a satanic super soldier can do. And by the way, this has been around for a really long time, and usually it's intergenerational. So like the children are taken very young and they're implanted with these things and given this treatment, and their personalities split, and they really have no control over it. Their parents had the same thing done to them, the grandparents, and this goes back generation and generation. And where does it all trace back to? It's not just the CIA. I mean, this goes way back. Does it trace back to, all the way back to the devil? I don't know. But these people, they're not in control of what they do, and the ones who programmed them had also been programmed themselves. Okay, to sum it up, I find the whole thing very strange, and I find it even strange for a crazy person. I've known crazy people, and even if their logic is way out there, there's usually there is logic there. It's just far-fetched, not realistic, but they do operate on some kind of motive, just like anyone else. And here there's really no motive, and it's strange how much these cases have in common. So I'll be posting updates when I get more information, and in the meantime, please check out Russ Dizdar's website, and well, thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.